Hello and welcome to the first of 3 videos concerning the issue of increasing knowledge of semantic technologies, otherwise known as Web 2.0 technologies, amongst information professionals, in particular librarians. My name is Bodhi and I'm an information science major at Queensland University of Technology. Over the course of this presentation, I'm going to be discussing the issue of semantic technologies in the library sector in particular, with a view to advocating we push for technical skills in that sector. In this particular video, I'm going to be focusing on the lie of the land in a virtual informational sense and how we as librarians can fall short of service provision within it. For an example of semantic technologies, I'm going to be focusing mainly on coding, which I'll define and discuss in the next video. So when Web 2.0 or semantic technologies are mentioned, people often think about physical things that free information. We're talking mobile platforms, blogs, social media, and so on. But beyond that, Web 2.0 is about principles and attitudes towards information. Paul Miller in 2005 included things like Web 2.0 applications being modular and participatory in his article. Another aspect of Web 2.0 he discusses there is building virtual applications. Partridge, Lee and Munro in 2010 identified 6 key themes from Australian-based focus groups in their article entitled Becoming Librarian 2.0. Among these were technology, self-directed learning and education, and user focus. So even though technology is a massive part of semantic technologies, we can see that there are guiding principles and concepts behind that technology that are basically, for the purposes of this presentation, these principles are basically confounding libraries and librarians' places in this informational landscape. Our role is basically more diverse and problematic now than it was even 10 years ago. And this is where the falling short of service provision comes in. Often patrons of libraries know more about technology than librarians do these days. And instead of an organisation giving an audience information, technology has now put librarians in the middle of a 3-way split between the organisation they work for, the technology department that essentially controls the means of producing and disseminating all of this data, and the audience, which can also produce and disseminate data. So it's an interesting time to be alive in library land. So how do librarians keep ahead of the curve in this brave new world? Well, perhaps we can learn from other sectors. Partridge, Lee and Munro conclude in their paper on Librarian 2.0 with the idea that we should learn from other professions such as teaching, where they've already begun to ask those same questions in their own professions. So what they were referring to is how to find a way to recontextualise their jobs in a modern context, but in a slightly different vein. If we take a look at education these days, much is made of media literacy, that is, being able to look at a text and figure out not only its message but also what its creator's intent and attitudes are. Now, the concept itself has interesting implications for a library, but I want to focus on the idea that in order to educate children about the idea of media literacy, educators are increasingly using a novel means of dissemination. They're letting kids make media creations themselves. So in a paper entitled Computer Games, Schools and Young People, Ben Williamson in 2009 explored how basic video game setups in schools helped children gain media literacy quite effectively. And it's this idea that I got interested in with regard to librarians engaging with semantic technologies in today's information landscape. So to summarise, the issue at hand is that in a modern information environment, libraries are evolving quickly and trying to find their place again. And I'm looking for a way to do this that underpins that and in a way transcends technology to keep up to date over the technology's evolution.